Hi and welcome to Vixicon. Those of you joining me on YouTube, hello. You can see my little face. This is a whole new format for us. In the past, it's just been a podcast, but I wanted to bring a video element to it. So bear with, because this is brand new. Like to the point that I've already tried to record this, and turns out working with a mic clip to me when you talk with your hands can be problematic. So we're going to try not to smack the microphone. That is step one. But why are we doing the video thing? Why am I even doing the podcast again? I mean, it's been literally years. Why? Okay, so the main answer to why is because I have let everything that I have ever learned just completely slack. I need to go right back to the beginning. I have allowed life to happen to me over the last couple of years. Well, not quite a full 2 years, since October 2024. October 2024 was when I completed a big thing that I had been working on, a manifestation that was important for like a lot of reasons. One, because it was important to me, but two, it was actually closing out a cycle from a previous time where I tried it and everything that could go wrong did go wrong, and I needed to prove to myself that, I could do it. So a lot went into that. And then I came back and I was like, relax. And yeah, it's not been, since then it's not been good. Some of it has been of my own making, because I have allowed these things, I have allowed life to happen to me. A lot of it has been to do with outside influences that are outside of my control, but have been very much part of my life, because I couldn't control it, and that's really been very stressful. I've allowed things to slack. I haven't been to the gym as much, and I've just become very, what's the word? I'm on like a plateau, like I'm just bumbling along. And bumbling along is no good at all. Well, it is for some people, but for people like me, it is not. Because bumbling along, when I'm too comfortable, I get miserable. I need to be always aiming for something. I always need to be changing something. It's what makes me happy. I like to always be aiming for the next level. The only person I'm ever in competition with is my previous self. And I like to outdo that bitch. So there you go. So I was checking my notes. I'm a profesh with my microphone and my notes. If you're listening on the podcast, you can't see any of this, but I'm feeling very productive. Okay. So yeah, it was all, like I said, it was all really, really important. Then, 2025 was just filled with other people's problems. And I know that sounds like a really harsh thing to say, but sometimes that can happen. Like, people close to you are having genuine crises and things like that, and you want to help because you love them. But that can really affect your own life as well, because you're so overwhelmed with that. And then, all of a sudden it's 6 months later and things have just slipped. It's not good. It's not good at all. Like I say, I quit the gym. I shut down from life. So I am going back to the beginning of what I did when I first started out with Vixicon, when I first started out with this changing your life, manifestation, malarkey, call it what you will. If you're not woo-woo, goals, self-help, management. But for me, a bit more of a spiritual manifestation aspect to it. So I'm literally going to go back to exactly what I did at the beginning, which is lists. Lists are kind of your first step. If you know about this from previous episodes, you don't have to carry on listening, but I would advise doing so, because sometimes going back to the beginning can help you realize things you didn't the first time around. Okay. So I'm doing the list. The first and foremost list, the most important list to start off with, is the list of things that you are not happy with. Now, yes, normally I'm more like, aim for the positive, think positive mindset, blah, blah, blah. But to get that positive mindset and to get to the things that you want to do, it's really important to know the things that you fucking don't want to do. That's massively important. That is why, sometimes shit things happen, because then you learn what you don't want, so then you can figure out what you do want. So that's my first step, is the list, and I've done that. I've put a list together of the things that are currently displeasing me about my life. Now, please don't get me wrong, I am in a better position than I was, 10 years ago. I've done a lot to move my life forward and make changes. If you met me in my 20s, you would not associate her with the person I am now at all. So this is, Oh no, I've forgotten. Train of thought, damn it. So, what currently displeases you, that's important to put down on the list, because if you don't know what you want, how will you know what you don't want? That is why there are negative experiences in life, because you cannot figure out what you like if you don't know what you don't like. Okay, so that is going to be different for everybody. That is going to look different for everybody. So just sit with a piece of paper, have a bit of peace and quiet, and just write all that down. Then you need to look at that list, and then you need to make another list. It's all about lists at the beginning, it really is, because you've got to get these thoughts out of your mind. So the next list is like, how would you change all the things that you don't want with if you had unlimited time, resources, money, etc.? What would you change, and how would you change it? Would you move house? Would you change relationship? Would you get a new job? Would you become an entrepreneur? Would you retire early? Would you join a gym? Would you cut your hair? It's everything and nothing. It's very, very personal, down to you. But these are the things that you do need to figure out. So these things that you have written down that seem, out of the realm of possibility because they have been created in a mindset where there are no limitations. I want you to take a really good look at that list and just see actually how out of reach they really are. Because when you sit and you look at these things, a lot of the changes that people want in life, they're not extravagant. They're not, out of this world. I want to go and set up an emu sanctuary on Mars. Like, that is very much out of the realms of possibility in this current time. But most people actually don't want anything that different and that extreme. So look at it. Can you make that happen? Are there ways you can make that happen? If you want to get a promotion at your job, are there ways that you can do extra hours? Are there ways that you can do courses? Is there a way you can go to school if you wanted to? Is there a way, if you took on an extra 10 hours a week for the next few years, that you could retire early? Sit down, do the thinking, do the maths, do the numbers. Do the numbers. The numbers are important. We'll get to that in another episode, though. So then, if when you've got to this point, I like to do another list, which is technically two lists. I like to do them side by side, which is the things there's things I want to change and there's things that I need to do. Now, obviously, we've touched very briefly on manifestation, and if you're a long-time listener, you'll know a lot more about it. When it comes to manifestation, there's a lot of people out there going, oh, yeah, just write it down like 55 times, 5 times a day, and it will happen. Just sit there and think about it for 10 minutes, and it will happen. You need to do some action. You can. You do. You really need to do some action. Like, that is important. So there's going to be action steps that you can take. What I like to call getting ready to be ready, which is something, again, we're going to cover in future episodes, because getting ready to be ready is one of the most important concepts that I can teach anybody. And getting ready to be ready has changed my life, has brought so many things into my life. So yeah, getting ready to be ready, we will be covering in a future episode. So say your goal is to move to another country. So you're going to put on the one side, list the things that are your responsibility. So first responsibility is probably pick a country. Your second responsibility is probably to start learning that language. Your other responsibility is to get rid of your stuff, sell things, whittle down your possessions, etc. On the other side, there's going to be stuff that is not for you to take care of, not for you to worry about. That's what we call the how. This is where people get bogged down. How is often another word for but, and we will cover that in a moment. But the how is not up to you. So if you're looking for a house, you should be, getting the mortgage ready, blah, blah, blah. But it's up to the universe to bring you the perfect house. It will come along. You'll be looking, and there it will be. That's not your responsibility. Looking, if you're buying plane tickets, it's your responsibility to save money, to look for the flights. It's the universe's responsibility to plot the perfect flight with the perfect seat that works well for you into your life. Okay, so there's certain things that are your responsibility and certain things that aren't. So this is the how is the buts are the how, and but. We don't like buts, not those kind of buts. So the how is often, somebody, So I will often say to people, oh, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And they'll be like, how are you going to do that? And I'm like, I don't know, I'll figure it out. That's the right answer. I will figure it out. Because you don't need to know that. This is where people come unstuck. This is why people don't do anything with their lives, because they get so bogged down with the how. Oh, but I'm going to need money. But, oh, there's, the kids are in school. Oh, but we need somewhere to live. Oh, but, ugh, it's nonsense. If you're moving to another country, there are schools there. If you're moving to another country, there are houses there. Okay? Like, this is just nonsense. These houses are just buts. And that kind of butt. We don't like that kind of butt. Okay? That's really important too. Stop making excuses. There's a podcast I listen to, and her motto is, your excuses are boring. Because, oh my God, they are so boring. Since I started living my life this way, I don't know, 6-7 years ago, I have really realised how much people are genuinely their own jailers. They keep themselves trapped in these little lives, and because with excuses, with buts and hows and just nonsense. And I know it's not entirely their fault, life is set up so we don't think that much, because if we start thinking that much, then it causes problems for the people up top, you know what I mean? They can't allow that. But that's a whole deep thing for a very different type of podcast. This is why, excuses are boring. These buts, these are the things that keep you restricted. These are the things that keep you living a little life. You can do pretty much whatever you want to do. Nobody is stopping you apart from you. And this is, as I see this so much, literally, nobody is stopping people from doing stuff. The only people stopping them is them. They are waiting on other people, waiting on excuses, waiting on this day, that day, the perfect day, the money day, the this day, the career day. It's just, oh, we'll do it then, we'll do it then, we'll do it then. There is never a perfect time to do anything. Blowing up your life, that's for any day of the week, okay? We're not waiting for a certain day for that. We're not waiting for a certain day to change our lives. Today is the day we do that. Doesn't matter, okay? You don't need to wait for the perfect time. You don't need to wait for the perfect amount of money. You don't need to wait to be the perfect weight. You don't need to wait for the perfect haircut or any other nonsense shit like that. You just start listening to someone like me or another podcaster who inspires you, because I might not inspire you. I might annoy the crap out of you, and that's absolutely fine with me. I have no beef with that. I said, I'm not even sure how this is going to go myself, but we're doing it. See? I'm living my own example. I'm doing it. I'm not sure if anyone will like it. The lighting's not amazing. It's not a brilliant film setup, but I am doing it. And that means I've done more than the person who's just talked about it, because when you don't do things, you've already failed. If you're concerned about failing at something, if you don't do it, you've literally already failed. So why not give it a go? That would be for me. That would be my suggestion. So, starting again. We're all starting again together. I'd love to hear any comments or messages from you guys, especially if you have like questions you want answering, or anything you want to know about your own life, things that could be used for inspiration, for the next episode. Please do let us know. It's been lovely speaking with you all again. I hope you like the new video format. If you are still with us on the podcast rather than the video, I'm waving, but you can't tell. Okay, but I am waving at you. Have a great week, and I'll speak to you all soon.